All right, welcome to Roam and Grow, everyone. I'm Jennifer Hunter with Roam by Tauck. And whether you're joining us live or catching the replay, I'm so glad you're here. Roam and Grow is an advisor roundtable where we explore what's working with today's luxury travelers, especially those in their 40s and 50s. So together we'll share ideas, discuss some of the trends, exchange marketing and sales strategies, and learn from one another as we work to attract younger luxury travels and build clients for life. So this isn't intended to be a webinar or a sales presentation. It's a conversation. Some of the best ideas come from the advisors in the community. So I encourage you to participate, ask questions, share what's working in your business. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's grow together. Welcome to Roam and Grow. All right, today's topic, week 2, is what luxury means today. Last week, we had a great discussion on what sort of clients we currently are working in the luxury sphere. And I would say about 90% of the advisors on last week's call said that we're working with the average age of 65. But I would say 100% of the advisors on the call said we want more guests in their 40s and 50s. And I think that, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but there's kind of been a shift happening in how people feel about luxury travel. So I've got just a little nugget of education for you guys here, just a few minutes to kind of kick off our chat here. But as I mentioned, pop some comments, questions in the chat as we go along. All right, so when people hear luxury travel, when many of them hear it, I think a lot of them think of 5-star hotels, butler service, fine dining, maybe upgrades, whether that's on a cruise or a hotel. But younger luxury travelers define luxury very differently. And I think that that's really important for how we approach this demographic, understanding what luxury means to them. So for many Gen X travelers, luxury means more of the following to them: time, ease, authenticity, that access, and flexibility. So luxury today isn't necessarily about more, it's about better. So pop into the chat. What do your clients value most today? What do your clients value most today when we're talking about luxury travel? Let's see what's going on out there. In the meantime, I've got 4 new definitions of luxury for you to think of with your Gen X travelers. So back in the day, the greatest luxury used to be money. What can money get you? That status, those nicer rooms, better seating, etc. But today, luxury, number 1 new definition of luxury is time. Many travelers in their 40s and 50s, as I've talked about with Roam by Tauck, they've got demanding careers. Maybe they have aging parents, teenagers, or college-age kids, and they have disposable income but limited time. So I often ask myself in life, I'm like, what do we have more of right now, time or money? Where do I want to invest it? That's what a lot of these folks are thinking about as well. So when you're advising your clients, you can think about what are some of the ways you can help your clients save time. That really matters to them. I can see Tori says her clients love feeling taken care of, that ease that comes with working with her. Absolutely. Adele says professional advice and guidance. I agree with that one. Sometimes the internet is too wide these days. We want to go to a professional. Audra says exclusive experiences. Audra, if you could tell us where you're finding those exclusive experiences for your clients, or what sort of experiences they're interested in. I know I'd be curious about that, because Ellen also says experiences. What kind of experiences are people looking for right now, this week, last week, this month? We'll see what sort of experiences. If you guys want to hop on, feel free to chat out loud, or you can put it in the chat. While we're waiting to see what...
I was
Hi.
just going to say, this is, I've done a couple of events the past 2 weeks. And one of the big things that I've been focusing on is at the end, I always close and ask my audience to define their luxury because luxury truly is different for everybody. And I've been using that hashtag in my social posts because I think it's so important from the very basic. I mean, if you're unhoused, right, luxury is a hot shower and a hot meal. If you're Bill Gates, luxury has an entirely different take on what that means to somebody. So luxury isn't a blanket. It is defining what it is for each individual person. And if that's experiences, if that's, 3 hours with the kids at a babysitter while you get a massage, it's going to be different. And our job as professionals is to try and really nail down what your luxury is. And so I have been saying define your luxury specifically to my clients because it is so varying and different. And it's funny that you're bringing this up because I just did two full presentations on luxury and what that means and the differences to people.
Yeah, and so other than in person, do you ask your clients this in their introduction call to you or post trip? How do you gather that information and where do you store it, like in a customer profile or something?
Definitely in the CRM,
Okay.
we keep the information there, but it is a conversation. I don't use those terms on a one-on-one conversation. I get around to it. I use it more for speaking events, and my socials.
Yeah, awesome. No, thank you so much for sharing. I love that. And I can see Chris likes that too, the hashtag define your luxury. That's awesome. Anybody else before I hop on to my second new definition of luxury? Audra said that some of the experiences that immediately come to mind are actually the ones that she experienced with Tauck on a river cruise. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Audra. Getting to meet the owners of a private palace in Prague that are American because their family fled to Boston during the war. Wow, I bet they had some amazing stories. They had a tour, dinner, and entertainment. Awesome experience. I love that. Um, Anyone else? Feel free to interrupt me as we go as well. All right, number two on my list for new definitions of luxury is access, kind of leaning into what Audra mentioned. Travelers want those local experiences, insider access, expert guides, and I think most importantly, some of those behind the scenes opportunities, the ones that everyone knows everybody else isn't getting. We know they don't want to feel like just another tourist in a destination. So it's not just hotel upgrades. But it's those exclusive memories and moments that will stand out to your guests. Kind of just like what Audra was saying. Good lead in there. So I had a question on this point. What experiences have generated the strongest client feedback on your guys' end? As as related to access, special access they get during travel. I know on our small and smaller groups, I think that just leans into access. It makes a big difference when you're in a smaller group of people. Even if you are a large group of people with a private experience, I still think the smaller the better, right? All right, number three on my list for you guys is flexibility. Luxury equals flexibility. So many travelers want, the structure of knowing they're going to see all the top sites in town, but the flexibility to pick and choose their personal experiences along the way. So, like that independence within a support structure and guided experiences and free time. It looks like Chris says his clients like experiences that link the client with the maker or producer that aligns with the traveler's philosophy. For example, Oh, meeting female vineyard owners and making organic wines. You could see how those parallels would be with one of your clients' particular values or interests. I love that. That's so specific. Audra says surprise and delight, the ones they don't necessarily know about ahead of time. Do you guys, with a raise of hands in the room, who plans something as a surprise for their clients during their trips? All right. I see a couple of hand raises. Yep. Tori sometimes does it. I've seen where advisors will put, personalized notes or photos of their clients in their room. I know that Tauck does a lot of these surprise and delights along the way. We call them lanyards. Adele does some as well. Yes, we love it when a tour operator does it, right? Less logistics for you guys. All right, number 4 on my new definition of luxury is storytelling. So people won't remember the thread counts on their sheets or the hotel room square footage, right? They're going to remember the cooking class that they had, the local guide that took them around to the nooks and crannies of the city that they're staying in, the unexpected moments maybe they had along the way during that tour. So I really think speaking in storytelling and memories is really starting to become very important for the luxury traveler. I was just on a social media presentation before this, and I said, think of yourself when you're scrolling at night or looking around, whatever platforms you use for your social interactions. Yes, exactly, Adele. They remember how the experience made them feel. So I can relate where I'm scrolling through and I see an experience. I'm going to do a super generic one. Oh no, I won't do something generic. Let's say bioluminescent kayaking. I see someone, having just this grand adventure with every stroke. The bioluminescent bacteria is lighting up at night under the stars. You can see the outlines of maybe palm trees, along the coast. And I say, oh my gosh, I want to do this experience with my adventure partner. Sometimes it doesn't even matter where it is. I know I've been looking at like diving with orcas recently too. And I'm like, is that safe? But also I want to do that. Doesn't matter where, but I want that experience. So when you're posting, think about that. The folks are going to remember how it made them feel and put themselves in the position of, I want this memory or this moment to come true for me and whoever I'm traveling with. All right, those are my 4 tips for you guys. The new definitions of luxury. We have time, access, flexibility, and storytelling. So let's jump into some roundtable questions here. My first one is, how have you guys seen luxury travel change over the past decade? Yes, that includes pre-pandemic. I know that's a huge milestone for us. So how have you guys seen luxury change over the past 10 years? More younger people wanting luxury. Audra, when you say younger, like what age range, if you had to pick? It's the hardest part of my job, the age thing. So we've got more younger people wanting luxury. Um, Adele said, crystal cruises to Explora journeys. A great example of how luxury has changed. Yeah, kind of leaning into, what do some of the cruise lines call that? Like the expedition or experiential cruising. So the younger clients starting in their 20s, actually, I would agree with that if they can afford it. So yeah, Audra says, you're right. Luxury doesn't necessarily mean very expensive. I love that too. I used to say, the younger folks want those Instagrammable moments. Um, Gary says he's booking more of his clients into luxury that didn't used to book luxury. That's a great point because, if we look at our own journey of traveling, right, we're very lucky and blessed to work in the best industry. Maybe we traveled in this style when we were, in our 20s. And then when we got in our 30s and maybe had a partner or started a family, you traveled in a different way. You as advisors, you get to know your clients, and I encourage you to be prepared to offer that next step. You might say my clients have traveled in this realm before, but they're looking to you as the professional to recommend that next step for them, honestly, before they find it on their own or somewhere else. So don't be afraid to offer a half step up or the next step up. I think when your clients are planning a special trip, that's a great opportunity to sort of introduce that next step. Tori says, I feel like my clients really value private tours and great hotels, no matter what the age. I agree with that. I've been seeing a lot of folks posting about how they're actually enjoying the hotel they're staying at rather than the go, 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 go itineraries. They're like, no, I'd rather invest in somewhere nice to stay and actually enjoy it while I'm here. Gary says, always offer the next step. Yes. All right. Hey, Mark, good to see you on here. He says, for me, the change is booking first-time clients on group tours at that higher price points that they've experienced before. Yeah, I hear that a lot with Rome by Tauck because we're not only introducing that next step for guests, but also a new way to travel. So sometimes that can be difficult with Rome by Tauck. It's a new way for them, but I really do think it leans into the type of luxury that these guests are looking for.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of them, like they're maybe, maybe they've seen their parents travel that way before, but now, and they've always thought it's like, oh, that's how my parents travel, but hey, it's really nice. Maybe it's like, at what point does that transition come in? So, for me, it's been, you know, hey, this kind of thing is really fun. Like, let's do it now.
Yeah,
And why not?
yeah, no, I agree. And I don't know if you guys have noticed on my socials, I've kind of been a little like blunt with some of those like debunking some of the misconceptions that these younger people have on guided travel. My most recent was Not Your Parents' Tour because of that. So I guess, Mark, I have a question for you. Do you think it's easier? Like, for example, Rome by Tauk is designed for that age group. Do you think that's an easier sell and saying, no, this is designed for a particular age? Or do you think just in general, the travel style is harder? Do you think it's easier
Um,
when they're like, oh, I'll be
no, I
traveling with
think people
people in
liked the
my
more
same?
active, like with the itineraries that I've been sharing, people really liked the more active activities are like, oh, river cruise, what? Like that's kind of like crazy. For that's the one I'm selling or trying to sell the most of. But people are like, oh, this itinerary is actually like way more active and interesting than the ones my parents went on. That's like a little like slower paced.
Yeah.
So that's been really interesting.
Yeah, great, great. No, I love that. I think we've done a great job with the experiences. They're definitely, I mean, I look at them and I'm like, oh, yeah, this would be really fun to do. So I love that.
And I think too, a lot of people I've noticed, the clients that I work with who are sort of, I don't want to say elder millennials, but like that's where I'm at, if I'm allowed to say it. But like that, they're starved for time. And so having, they've got busy families, busy schedules. They don't want to plan all of these things or make a lot of those decisions. They honestly, I'm seeing a lot of people want decisions made for them.
Yeah,
So it's for me, it's about changing the perspective on how people travel because maybe they're not familiar, like they have a, like you said, like a pre-existing notion of what a group tour is like.
yeah,
Um, but it can look different now. And I think that's kind of exciting.
yeah. I love that. It is exciting. We're kind of paving the way here. So appreciate everyone giving their insight. You said something, it'll come back to me. In the meantime, Ellen said, finding my repeat clientele wanting private guides and great hotels in combination with a cruise. More of that this year than group tours. Nice. That's good industry insight on some trends going on right now. I talked about that at an event that focused on land travel. So if you have cruisers, you know, of course, I know you all are asking, do you have any pre and post? And maybe not just staying at the hotel, but what else can you add on to really give them a great start to their trip, if it's before a cruise or a guided experience? We know guests are wanting those private guides and great hotels. I remembered what I was going to say, Mark. So I'm 33. I'm a millennial, and I always encourage travel advisors. I say, you know, I know I'm a little younger than the 40s and 50s that we're shooting for, but don't rule out your 20s and your 30s, because a lot of us, you know, we aren't having kids yet or are much later. We heard the older generation say, hey, go out and travel and have these experiences while you can. Hike through the Dolomites in Italy or go whitewater rafting in Europe. And a lot of us are doing that and saying, no, the time's now, we're willing to invest in it. Like my younger brother, he works in the AI industry. Him and his partner are always looking for the nicest, bougiest thing to go on next. And someone might look at them and be like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to offer them $1,000 per person per day trip, but that's what they want to spend and that's what they want to experience. So don't, you know, definitely consider those younger travelers as well, because our lifestyle is just different than some of the retired folks and how they were when they were working during this time. All right, Colleen said that her clients are looking for unique local activities. She had a Prague and group a few years ago. They went to a workshop, made marionettes, which is popular in that area, and the clients talked about that for years. Yeah, those are the type of memories everyone's looking for on their trips. Awesome, Colleen, that's so sweet. All right, let's see. We've got a couple minutes here before we wrap up. What sort of destinations do you guys think are popular with the younger demographic right now in their 40s and 50s? What sort of destinations in particular? Greece, Italy, Spain. We've got bucket list trips, Switzerland. Ellen said, yes, lots of spending money along with her younger clientele. Spending more than their parents did at the same age. Yeah, don't tell our parents. We've got Japan, Italy, Croatia. Thumbs up on those ones for sure. South Africa, Asia. Italy, Italy, Italy. I think Italy will always be up there. Okay, so I'd agree. They're wanting to get into some of these destinations that, you know, are the ones that are like, of course, you always want to go to Italy. And then some of the off the beaten path destinations too. I love it. What are some experiences that you could think of in these destinations that would create a strong emotional reaction? What are some of the experiences that you could picture in some of these destinations being attractive? Just trying to get us to think about talking about the experiences. Tori says being on a boat. Yeah, like a yacht at sunset, or maybe a small ship ocean cruise that gets you into nooks and crannies. All right, things that are not crowded and more intimate, unplugged. Oh, Tori was meaning as a day trip. Yeah, going out on a boat for a day trip, that's great. So Mark Joshua said, yeah, things that are not crowded or more intimate. I love that. Being unplugged, sort of off the radar, out away from all of the crowds for sure. All right, so I've got some social media clip, or I guess captions ideas for you guys to help you to start think about how you're talking or maybe advertising some of these experiences of luxury over just a travel destination and details. So I've got 3 in here just to kind of give you guys some lines you could use while you're on the phone or in an email as well. And then my action item for you guys today would be, ask 3 recent clients or find a way to talk to your people and ask them, what was your favorite part of your last trip? What was your favorite part of your last trip or your favorite memory that sticks with you after you've gotten back? And listen carefully to them. We're not focusing on the destination or the hotel, but look for the way they're describing their experiences, the emotions that are coming up, or that they straight up say to you when they're describing this experience. Maybe those connections that they've had with the people that they're traveling with. I know a big one for me, if I'm open to sharing with my travel advisor, is personal growth that I get on my trips as well. So asking them if anything moved them while they were traveling or changed their perspective while they were out in a different part of this beautiful world. And I'd love to hear from you guys one way or another what your people are saying, because I think, just like this roundtable, I'm hearing and learning from you guys as we are each other at these coffee chats. So learn from your clients, because they're the ones actually traveling and being a part of this new shift in luxury travel. I'll open it up for some last minute questions before we head out today. Ellen says, the issue is the airlines. There's always issue with the airlines. They're the hardest part of our job. But I appreciate you all taking the time today. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces. Yeah, the airlines, the necessary evil to get to the good stuff. I agree. All right, thank you all for meeting with me today. This is our Roam and Grow coffee chat. I will send a follow-up email with some of my luxury definitions. Appreciate you all being here today. Good to see you, and I'll be on again next week. Have a great rest of your week.
See ya.
Cheers.